right, let's dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of a comic book. The quest to build a car that can actually drive upside down.
You know, for decades, this has been the ultimate motorsport myth, right? The idea that a race car could generate so much aerodynamic force, it could literally stick to the ceiling of a tunnel. But is that just a cool theory, or could someone actually pull it off?
Well, the secret sauce behind this whole idea is a concept called downforce. The easiest way to think about it is like this. A race car's wings are basically airplane wings, but flipped upside down. So instead of creating lift to fly, they generate this incredible force that pushes the car down onto the track, essentially gluing it to the road.
And that downward push is absolutely crucial. It gives the car a ridiculous amount of grip, which lets it take corners at speeds that just seem to defy physics. And here's the kicker. If you go fast enough, that downforce can actually become greater than the car's own weight.
And the scale of this force, it's just staggering. Take a modern Formula One car. It weighs around 798 kilograms, right? But at speed, it can generate up to 4,000 kilograms of downforce. That's more than 4 times its own weight pushing it into the ground. So theoretically, that's way more than enough to stick to a ceiling.
And that theory is exactly what motorsport engineer Scott Mansell set out to prove with his incredibly ambitious Project Inversion. His goal was simple, but huge. Be the first person to drive a car upside down for 5 whole seconds using nothing but pure, what he calls organic aerodynamics. No tricks, no fans, just the raw power of air.
Now you'd think an F1 car would be the obvious choice, right? But surprisingly, nope. They're actually too heavy, and their super complex engines just aren't designed to run upside down. So instead, the team landed on this car, the Empire Wraith. It's an ultra-lightweight hill climb car. We're talking less than half the weight of an F1 car, and it generates amazing downforce at much lower speeds. It was the perfect choice.
So they had the car, but the team was staring down some massive challenges. Turning it into an electric vehicle was a huge job in itself. Designing a custom tunnel to drive in, even bigger. But the single greatest hurdle of them all was the money. It turned out that no tunnel on Earth would actually work. They had to build their own. And yeah, that's where things got really, really expensive. The very first design for a 600-meter C-shaped tunnel came with a jaw-dropping price tag of £14 million. That was a serious roadblock.
But the team got clever. They went back to the drawing board with a much bigger focus on cost. And through some really innovative design, they managed to slash that budget all the way down to a much more realistic £3 million. I mean, it's still a ton of money to raise, but it suddenly brought the dream back into the realm of possibility.
Okay, but here's where the story takes this amazing twist. While Project Inversion was carefully planning how to beat gravity with aerodynamics and speed, another team came along and achieved the exact same thing while standing completely still.
And there it is, the McMurtry Sparling, just hanging there, held completely upside down on a test rig. No tunnel, no screaming high speeds, just pure mind-bending engineering. They'd actually done it.
So, how in the world did they pull this off? Well, their solution had nothing to do with air flowing over the car. It was all about controlling the air under it, using a pretty radical piece of tech known as a fan car.
See, instead of wings, the Sparling has these 2 insane electric turbines that spin at a mind-boggling 23,000 RPM. These fans basically just suck all the air out from underneath the car, creating this powerful, low-pressure vacuum that glues it to whatever surface it's on. It's less like an upside-down airplane wing and way more like a giant, super-powered vacuum cleaner. And the force this system generates is it's bonkers. At a total standstill, 0 miles per hour, those fans produce over 2,000 kilograms of downforce. The car and driver together weigh less than 1,200 kilograms. So yeah, that suction is more than enough to completely defy gravity.
So this leaves us with 2 completely different engineering philosophies, both chasing the exact same, seemingly impossible goal. Let's kind of break them down side by side.
On one hand, you have Project Inversion, the purest approach, right? The elegant upside-down wing. It needs high speed to work, and its biggest challenge is the crazy cost of building a special tunnel. Then you have the McMurtry Sparling, the brute force solution, the giant vacuum cleaner. It needs 0 speed, and its main problem is just figuring out how to power those monstrous fans. 2 brilliant but totally opposite ways to solve the same problem.
But you know, for all their differences, both of these projects share a really powerful common goal. This isn't just about a cool stunt. It's about sparking that curiosity, inspiring a new generation of engineers to look at something impossible and ask, wait, how did they do that? And then go find out for themselves.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating question for the future. You've got these two incredible paths to performance. One is all about elegant aerodynamic efficiency. The other is about raw, on-demand mechanical grip. Which one of these ideas do you think will define where cars go from here?